Here's my Flicker Strike build I've been working on for quite a few weeks. We're gonna run this Minotaur, a random Minotaur. I just wanted to identify it and just run it. So this is just a tier 16 Minotaur, and then afterward we're gonna run a highly delirious map, 80% delirious.
One of my captors felt no emotion. He did not hesitate.
I'm gonna come back for this stuff later. At the end I came back for the stuff. This is a zoom style build. This is where you want to play very quickly. Where you just want to really have massive movement speed, attack speed. Hello, Rakiata. Another build I developed this league, my league starter, which is much easier to do as a league starter. Generally, spell builds are easier as league starters. I've learned very much the hard way. Was my Stormbrand build, my Stormbrand Lightning Conduit build. I have a video on that I posted recently. It's significantly slower, but it's much better on Ubers. Minotaur burrowed. Not a problem. We got 20% Culling Strike. So the Stormbrand, much better on Ubers, Uber clear, even though it still struggles on certain Ubers. So this one we're going to add Serengat Shark and Einhar and run a tier 16 Dark Forest. With 80% Delirious, I never run 100% Delirious. I think it's a waste of time. I think it's much wiser to do 80% Delirious. Much more reasonable. Otherwise it just slows you down.
I can't do this just yet.
As you can see, even 80% Delirious, which means we do less damage, significantly less damage. Still very quick clear. Still very rapid clear. I was actually running with a few gems, not max, like Stone Golem. We only use Stone Golem for a little bit more rage generation, because we're burning rage all the time with Berserk. So you get a quicker rage regeneration if you have a Stone Golem, because it gives you 100 more, and you'll see why. I delay a little bit before attacking bosses lately. You'll notice a lot of decent players better than me do that, because when an enemy spawns, it actually kind of phases into being able to take damage. They did that so you won't like one-shot anybody. That was implemented, I don't know, 3.11 or something. So if you let them spawn and sit around for a good couple seconds, you'll do full damage after like a few seconds. This build was inspired by builds on POE.ninja. There's a variety of Flicker Strike setups. Some use Starforge. Some use a very specialty setup with a Squire, so you get like a 10 link, which has got to be crazy. Some use a Scepter that does Secrets of Suffering. You can see I took a little dip in damage. I would love to have Progenesis, but it's very expensive. It's about 40 to 42 Divine. I did not use Progenesis. This build doesn't need Progenesis, but it wouldn't be bad to have it. I decided to go with Wise Oak instead. I'm just going to show this Harvest. This build can do Harvest even when it's 80% Delirious. Regular tier 16, I mean, this build just melts Harvest. It's a good farming build. Very much a contrast to my League Starter, my Stormbrand build. It's much faster, it's better for farming, it's better for map clear, it's better for Delirious. Way worse on Ubers because it can't tank the damage as well. Even though it has 90% armor, which is great. I decided to opt for max armor rather than have evasion and armor. And I'll go through that shortly. It's a fun build, but not hardcore viable.
I can't do this just yet.
So how does it work? It uses only 2 rare items. One is this weird-ass shield that I made. I actually made a video on making this weird-ass shield. I wanted aspect of the cat, I wanted life. We put less duration in there. If you look at the upper left, we always have max frenzy and endurance charges because I put less duration into my aspect of the cat item. It causes the aspect of the cat to cycle quicker, to refresh the charges quicker. It also uses a heavy belt to give us lots of chaos res, and then I slammed it myself and I got damage with hits against chilled enemies. Why not? We chill enemies all the time. It's a cold build. This is a cold Vicar Strike build. I wanted my uncapped fire to match my uncapped lightning because of Wise Oak. This causes us to take less damage of those respective types, and then cold you want the max so that you penetrate more res. Bottled Faith, movement speed, and just a life flask. I like Blood of the Karuri, I always have. 90% armor because of down here. We take Iron Reflexes. I've taken it off many times. I like it better to have max armor. Because of our leech, I don't really care about evasion rating. And I don't do spell suppression, which is unusual for a Flicker Strike build. Here is what I have going on a single large cluster jewel. Single large, not double, not anything else. Nice Watcher's Eye, it's actually shiny. Raw cold, attack speed with precision. In a perfect world, of course, we would want critical strike chance with hatred. Or second best, cold penetration with hatred. We have Corrupted Blood with a bunch of percent damage. We don't have a lot of sources of percent damage. We have a lot of raw damage. Trying to stack crit, as you can see. We do quite a bit of tattoos. I wanted lots of just raw cold damage everywhere. And I'm going to show you why we want cold damage. Because our weapon does very little physical damage and like no cold damage itself, but is used as a Paradoxica for attack speed, cold penetration, and very important, of course, the main thing, all our hits do double damage. Should be 30 quality, never bothered. Lots of frenzy charges everywhere. We want frenzy charge ring here. Everything else is a unique. This also helps us with mana burn. See, we only use 4 auras. Aspect of the cat is free. Hatred, Herald Device, Precision. We put them here with an Enlighten. Here is, of course, Dark Ray Vectors. And I go ahead and get my AoE gems up a little bit. Why not? It's like 20C instead of like 3C. Why not? Another plus to Frenzy Charge. You want a Val implicit Cam Spirit. That's how we get Rage, which gives us huge attack speed and access to Berserk all the time, which is massive on single target. My god. As you can see, it feels great. Steel Skin, so we don't die quite as much. We put Minion Life onto the Stone Golem. The Stone Golem does not give us any life regen. It's just to help our Rage generation. And look at this beautiful Precursors emblem. Unfortunately, I did not get a very expensive 150 Divine +1 to max Frenzy Charge ring, but that's okay. For the longest time, I used a plain Feral's Fur, which gives power instead of endurance charges. But with Replica, you get constant endurance charges. You don't have to worry about it. That way, you don't have to worry about your res. Here's our last tattoo. Needless to say, Frenzy Charge tattoo. I really hope tattoos stay in some way. I have a feeling they will. Impossible Escape lets us grab around this Elemental Equilibrium. And all these are Price of Glory junks, but by using Impossible Escape, we don't have to walk and waste points because of this Elegant Hubris. Victario doesn't matter because we're not taking it. All that matters is the number, so that we get increased damage per Frenzy Charge, double. 20% per Frenzy Charge, 20% times 11. And then life and crit, and then attack speed. It's a very nice Elegant Hubris. A lot of Frenzy Charge builds use Thread of Hope. I don't. A lot use all kind of things I don't use. We take Impact, of course. We take Bane of Legends, and then we take Headsman for 20% Culling Strike. Very nice. I don't take Brutal Fervor. A lot of builds do. I don't bother with Forbidden Flesh, Forbidden Flame. Instant Leech, and then that's how we keep our mana right there. Now, I take this. Almost no Flicker Strikes take this, but I like 20% more freeze. I just like it. And, more importantly, right here, we don't take Frostbite, and we don't take Elemental Weakness. In fact, we do no hexes. We do one curse. It's called Assassin's Mark, and that is it. Because 25% of the time, enemy's Ellie res is inverted. It works very well. And then we have cold penetration for the 3/4 of a time that our hits are not treated as inverted. That's also why we don't take cold exposure of any kind. See? LE penetrance. And then more LE penetrance. And we have a few other sources of it. You just don't want reduced LE res of enemies. Now our last thing is our amulet here. We get another frenzy charge. And then I take it because it gives +3 to our flicker strike. A lot of builds use Yoke of Suffering, and then they have like 4 anointments. It's expensive, it's cumbersome. I wanted to try something different. So I did this one, and as you can see, it works very well. Now our Forbidden Shackle could be upgraded. I keep looking for a better Ice Bite. It goes up to 35. This is a level 32. It gives cold damage per frenzy charge, which is why you want very high Ice Bite. In fact, I'm only running a 5-link because Arrow Nova is a waste. In a perfect world, that would be close combat support or endurance charge on stun support, in which case we could socket in the opposite one, close combat or endurance charge on stun. Of course, you do want awakened LE damage and awakened multi-strike. Very expensive. This and the replica ferals, horribly expensive. And then we use a divergent flicker strike for more range.